The wrench slipped from my fingers and clattered against the concrete floor of the garage, echoing like a gunshot in the humid Seattle summer night. Mason's breath was hot against my neck, his calloused hand suddenly fisting the front of my shirt, yanking me closer until our foreheads nearly touched. His green eyes wild with something I'd never seen in them before. Hunger, raw and unfiltered. "Noah," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder. "I can't pretend anymore. Not with you." I froze there in the garage, the air thick with the scent of motor oil and rain-soaked asphalt drifting in from the cracked door. Mason's grip on my shirt tightened, his knuckles white against the faded black fabric of my Radiohead tee. We'd been out here for hours, him tinkering with his beat-up Ford pickup like he always did when his dad now, technically, yelled at him about college applications. I was just supposed to hand him tools, play the good stepbrother role I'd slipped into 3 years ago when Mom married into this mess of a family. But now his body was pressed against mine, solid and unyielding, and every nerve in me screamed to pull away or dive in deeper. "Noah," he repeated, his voice a gravelly rasp that sent shivers down my spine. It wasn't the brotherly tone he used when we shot hoops in the driveway or cracked beers on the back porch. This was different, dangerous. "Say something, man. Please." I swallowed hard, my throat dry as the Columbia River in drought season. What the hell was I supposed to say? That I'd been in love with him since the day he walked into our cramped kitchen in Tacoma. All broad shoulders and easy grins, carrying a duffel bag and a chip on his shoulder the size of Mount Rainier? That every time he stripped off his shirt after a run, sweat glistening on his tan skin, I'd had to excuse myself to the bathroom to splash cold water on my face and remind myself he was straight as a Seattle sidewalk? Mason Hargrove, star quarterback of the Lincoln High Eagles, dated cheerleaders like it was his job, and I was just Noah Ellis, the quiet kid with the sketchbook full of charcoal drawings and a secret Tumblr feed of half-naked guys that I'd delete every night before bed. What are you doing, Mason?" My words came out weaker than I intended, barely above the hum of the garage fan. But I didn't push him away. God help me, I didn't. He let out a shaky laugh, but there was no humor in it. Just pain, etched deep into the lines around his eyes that hadn't been there last summer. "Fucking hell, Noah. I've been doing this dance for months. Watching you with that asshole from the art club, the one with the stupid piercings. Killed me." His free hand came up, cupping the back of my neck, thumb brushing the sensitive skin just below my ear. Electricity shot through me, pooling low in my gut. "You're my brother, stepbrother, whatever, but you're not just that. Not to me." The world tilted. Rain started pattering harder on the roof, a steady rhythm that matched the pounding in my chest. I could hear Mom and Dad's voices faintly from the house, laughing over some Netflix rerun in the living room, oblivious to the bomb detonating out here in their 2-car sanctuary of lawnmowers and holiday decorations. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not in the suburbs of Seattle, where everyone knew your business but pretended they didn't. Not between us. Before I could process it, Mason closed the gap. His lips crashed into mine. Not gentle, not tentative, but fierce, like he'd been holding back a storm and the dam finally broke. I tasted salt and desperation, his stubble scraping my chin as he angled his head, deepening the kiss with a groan that vibrated through both of us. My hands found his waist on instinct, fingers digging into the soft cotton of his tank top, feeling the heat of his skin beneath. It was everything I'd imagined in my weakest moments, late at night with the covers pulled over my head, his strength, his scent like pine and engine grease, the way he fit against me like we'd been built for this. But reality clawed its way in. I shoved him back, gasping, my back hitting the workbench. Tools rattled, a socket set tumbling to the floor. "Mason, stop. You're straight. You have a girlfriend. Sarah. Remember? Prom king and queen bullshit." His face crumpled, chest heaving as he raked a hand through his sweat-damp hair. "Sarah's. It's not real. It never was. I thought I could make it work, you know? Be normal. But every time I look at you." He trailed off, eyes dropping to the floor, where the wrench lay like an accusation. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have." "No." The word burst out of me, sharper than I meant. I stepped forward, closing the space again, my heart a war drum. Don't you dare apologize for that. But what the hell does this mean? You can't just kiss me and act like it's nothing. He looked up, those green eyes locking onto mine, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. Not even when his real mom bailed on him back in Portland, leaving him with a dad who drowned his sorrows in Bud Light. It means everything, Noah. It means I'm scared shitless. But I can't keep lying to myself. To you. We stood there, inches apart, the garage feeling smaller than ever. Outside, thunder rumbled over Puget Sound, lightning flickering through the window like a warning. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But trust was a fragile thing in a house built on second chances. Mom's quickie marriage to Richard after my dad split for Silicon Valley, blending our lives like oil and water. Mason and I had been oil, mostly, him the golden boy, me the shadow. Best friends on the surface, but underneath, a current pulling me under. That night, we didn't say much more. He picked up the wrench, handed it to me with a ghost of his usual smirk. Fix your face. Bro, Mom's gonna wonder why we look like we saw a ghost. We went back inside, shared a tense dinner where I picked at my salmon and he shoveled mashed potatoes like a man possessed. But later, in the hallway outside our rooms, his posters of Seahawks legends staring down at us. He brushed my hand with his, a secret promise in the dim light of the Pirates of the Caribbean nightlight Mom insisted on keeping. I lay awake for hours, replaying the kiss, the taste of him lingering like forbidden fruit. Seattle's fog rolled in thick that night, muffling the world outside, but inside me, a fire had started, one that no amount of rain could extinguish. The next few weeks were a tightrope walk. School started back up. Senior year for both of us at Lincoln High, where the hallways smelled like cafeteria fries and teenage angst. Mason threw himself into football practice, barking orders at linemen under the floodlights of the field. His jersey mud-streaked and heroic. I buried myself in AP art, charcoal smudging my fingers as I sketched him from memory. The curve of his jaw, the way his hair fell over his forehead when he laughed. We didn't talk about the garage. Not directly, but the touches lingered. A knee bumping mine under the dinner table. His arm slung casually over my shoulders in the truck on the way to school. Fingers lingering a beat too long. Sarah noticed. Of course she did. She was captain of the Spirit Squad. All blonde ponytail and homecoming court smiles. The kind of girl who baked Mason cookies with little football shapes on them. One afternoon, after chem lab, she cornered me by my locker, her glossed lips pursed. What's up with you and Maze lately? He's been weird, distant. I forced a shrug, heart hammering. Beats me. Probably stressed about scouts. It wasn't a total lie. UW had been sniffing around, offering partial rides. But the truth? He was pulling away from her, from everyone, building walls higher than the Space Needle. That night, he climbed through my window like we were kids again. Back when he'd sneak over to play Xbox until dawn. Except now he was shirtless. Rain slicked from a jog, muscles taut under the porch light. Can't sleep, he muttered, collapsing onto my bed. The room was a mess of sketch pads and empty energy drink cans. My sanctuary. He smelled like storm and soap, and when he pulled me down beside him, it felt inevitable. We didn't kiss that time. Just lay there, his head on my chest, my fingers tracing lazy circles on his back. I broke up with Sarah today, he whispered into the dark. Told her it wasn't her. It was me. Relief flooded me, sharp and sweet. And, she cried, called me an asshole. He chuckled bitterly. Maybe I am. You're not. I tilted his chin up, meeting his gaze. You're just figuring it out. His hand covered mine, warm and steady. With you. I want to figure it out with you. We talked then, really talked. For the first time since the garage. About the crushes he'd ignored in the locker room. The porn he'd clicked past too quickly. The fear that choked him at night. About my own coming out to Mom last year, her hug and quiet, I love you anyway. The way Dad's emails from California had gone radio silent after. Seattle was progressive on paper. Pride flags on every coffee shop from Capitol Hill to Ballard. But high school? It was a minefield of whispers and side eyes. By dawn, we'd kissed again, slower this time, exploratory. His hands roamed tentatively, mapping me like uncharted territory, and I showed him what I'd learned from stolen glances and late-night videos. It was clumsy, perfect, ours. When he slipped back to his room, the sun rising over the evergreens, I felt whole for the first time. But secrets in suburbia have a way of unraveling. 2 weeks later, at a bonfire party down by Lake Washington, Jake, the pierced art kid Sarah had mentioned, pulled me aside behind the coolers. He was cute in that indie band way, with tattoos peeking from his sleeves and a smirk that promised trouble. "Heard you and Mason are tight now." Like, really tight. His eyes gleamed with mischief. "Careful, Noah. Straight boys break hearts." I laughed it off, but the seed was planted. Doubt. And when Mason showed up late, reeking of beer and avoiding my eyes, it sprouted. The doubt festered like mold in the damp Seattle basements we all pretended didn't exist. Mason and I had carved out these stolen moments. Kisses in the cab of his truck parked at Alki Beach, hands intertwined under the blanket during movie nights with the parents. He'd whisper mine against my skin, and I'd believe him, because what else was there? Love like this didn't come with a roadmap. It was a blind drive down I-5 at midnight, fog lights on and wipers slapping rain. But Jake's words echoed, and Mason started pulling back, subtle at first. A missed text, a hurried goodnight. Football season ramped up, and he was gone more. Practices till dark, team meetings, away games in Spokane where the air was dry and the stands full of scouts. I'd watch from the bleachers, bundled in a hoodie against the chill wind off the sound, cheering when he sacked the quarterback, his silhouette heroic under the lights. Afterward, in the parking lot, he'd hug me quick, bro style, before Sarah's replacement. A fiery redhead named Taylor from the debate team whisked him away for study sessions. Taylor. She was smart, ambitious, the girl who quoted Ginsberg in English class and volunteered at the food bank. The kind mom would love. I hated her on principle, but mostly I hated how easy it was for Mason to slip back into that role. The straight-A jock with the perfect girlfriend, untarnished. One crisp October Friday, after the homecoming win against Roosevelt, the team threw a rager at a house in Magnolia. I wasn't big on parties. Too many bodies, too much noise, but Mason begged. "Come on, Noah. It'll be fun. Like old times." His grin was all dimples and charm, the one that made teachers overlook his half-assed essays. Old times. Before the garage. Before everything. I went. The house was a McMansion knockoff, pulsing with bass from some EDM playlist. Red Solo cups littering the deck overlooking the bay. Mason found me in the kitchen, pouring myself a lukewarm beer, his face flushed from victory and whatever was in his flask. "There's my guy." He slung an arm around me, loud enough for the cluster of cheerleaders nearby to giggle. Taylor was there, perched on the counter in a crop top and jeans that hugged her like they were painted on, her laugh bright as fireworks. "Hey, stepbro," she teased, hopping down to peck Mason's cheek. "Noah, you gotta tell me. Does he practice those sack dances in the garage? I swear he's got moves." I forced a smile, stomach twisting. "All the time. Can't get him to stop." Mason laughed, too loud, his hand lingering on her waist. But later, when she dragged him to dance, his eyes found mine across the room. Apologetic, pleading. I turned away, chugging the beer until it soured in my gut. Jake appeared like a shadow, materializing with 2 fresh cans. "Told you," he said, clinking his against mine. His pierced brow glinted under the string lights. "Straight boy syndrome. They'll play house till the cows come home, then bolt when it gets real." "It's not like that." But my voice lacked conviction. Jake was out and proud, dating a theater kid from Roosevelt, their relationship a staple of the GSA meetings I'd attended sporadically. He didn't hide. He flaunted, in the safest way our school allowed. Jake shrugged, eyes scanning the crowd. Prove it. Confront him. Or move on. He leaned in, breath minty. "I've got an idea for distraction." His idea involved the backyard hot tub, a tangle of limbs and chlorine-scented steam. Jake's mouth was soft, insistent, nothing like Mason's rough edges. It was a rebellion, a test. Does it feel the same? Didn't. But it was something, a spark in the cold. Mason found us an hour later, Jake's head on my shoulder as we dried off on lounge chairs. The party had thinned, bass thumping fainter now. His face was a storm cloud, jaw clenched. What the fuck, Noah? I stood, towel slipping. Having fun. You should try it. Taylor trailed behind him, confused. Babe? What's wrong? Nothing. He grabbed my arm, yanking me toward the side yard, away from prying eyes. The grass was slick with dew, evergreens whispering in the breeze. Who is he to you? Jealous. The word slipped out, laced with venom I'd saved for darker days. His eyes flashed. You know I am. But this? After everything. Everything. I laughed bitterly, pulling free. You mean the scraps? The garage kiss and the window visits. Then poof. You're Mr. Straight with Taylor again? Pick a lane, Mason. He recoiled like I'd slapped him. I'm trying, okay? It's not that simple. Dad's already on me about focus. And if he knew. He trailed off, glancing back at the house where laughter spilled out like light. If he knew what? That his golden boy's queer. The word hung heavy the first time we'd said it aloud. Queer. Gay. Whatever label fit the no man's land we inhabited. Mason's face twisted. Don't make it ugly. You did that. I shoved past him, heart splintering. The drive home was silent, his truck eating up the miles along Elliott Bay, ferries ghosting in the dark water. He dropped me at the curb, tires squealing as he peeled away without a word. Mom noticed the rift at breakfast the next day. Pancakes going cold on my plate, Mason's chair empty. Boys, she sighed, her nurse's scrubs crisp, coffee mug steaming. What's eating you too? Nothing, we chorused, him shuffling in late, hair tousled like he'd run his hands through it all night. Richard, Dad, grunted from behind his tablet. Leave him be, Karen. Hormones. But it wasn't nothing. The silence stretched, a chasm. Mason avoided me. Separate cars to school, no more shared lunches in the quad. I threw myself into art club, Jake's easy flirtations a bomb. We hooked up once more in the darkroom during a late print session. Chemicals sharp in the air, his body urgent against the enlarger. It was release, not revelation. But it fed the rumor mill. Whispers in the halls about Noah and that pierced freak. Side eyes in the cafeteria. Mason heard. Of course he did. He cornered me after trig. In the empty band room where trumpets gathered dust. You're fucking him? For real? What's it to you? I slammed my locker, book spilling. You made your choice. His fist hit the wall inches from my head. Plaster cracking. I didn't choose this. I chose you, idiot. But you're throwing it away. Like you threw me away for Taylor? Tears burned, hot and unwelcome. Go back to your normal life, Mason. I'll find someone who doesn't run. He deflated, hand dropping. I broke it off with her. Last night. Said I needed space. Too late. The damage was done. Space, right? That's code for, I'm scared. We parted enemies. The band room door swinging shut like a guillotine. That weekend, Mom dragged us to a family counseling session, her idea, after Richard's blood pressure spiked from work stress. The therapist, Dr. Lena, was a no-nonsense black woman with wire rims and a Seattle Mariners mug, her office overlooking Pike Place. We sat on opposite couches, arms crossed, the air thick with unsaid accusations. Blended families, she started, pen poised. They're like potlucks. Everyone brings something, but sometimes flavors clash. Mason snorted. I stared at my sneakers. She probed. School, futures, feelings. When she hit resentments, it cracked open. Mason spat first. He acts like I owe him everything, like one fight erases years. I fired back. Years of what? Being your shadow? Your dirty secret. Dr. Lena's eyes sharpened. Secret. Silence. Then Mason, voice small. Not like that. But it was. We left with homework. Write letters, no sending. Mine was a tome, pages of ache. From the garage spark to the bonfire ashes. His, A single sheet, folded tight. I'm sorry. I love you. M. I burned it in the backyard fire pit that night. Flames devouring the words like my resolve. Love. It was a grenade, not a gift. Winter crept in, gray skies bleeding into January. Seattle's holidays were muted, string lights on evergreens, salmon runs in the Duwamish. Mason and I coexisted, civil ghosts. Passing the gravy at Thanksgiving, forced smiles for Mom's photos. But under it, the current pulled stronger. Late one night, snow flurrying rare and thick, he texted, "Garage? 1 a.m. I went. Toolboxes unchanged. His truck still jacked up from that endless repair. He was waiting, breath fogging, a blanket draped over his shoulders. Can't do this anymore, he said, pulling me into the circle of wool. The pretending. We kissed there, snow melting on our lashes, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. It escalated, hands under shirts, gasps echoing off cinderblock walls. His touch was reverent, exploratory, learning me as I learned him. For the first time, it felt real, possible. After, wrapped in the blanket on the cold floor, he murmured, "I'm telling Dad, after the championship." My heart stuttered. "You sure?" Terrified. "But yeah." His fingers traced my jaw. "For us." Hope bloomed, fragile as cherry blossoms in February. We planned. Come out together, face the fallout as a unit. Jake backed off when I told him, gracious with a new "you two were endgame." Even Taylor, in a coffee-fueled heart-to-heart at Starbucks, admitted she'd suspected. "He looks at you like you're the sun, Noah." February's championship loomed. Lincoln versus Roosevelt at the Clink, sold-out stands electric. Mason trained like a demon, bruises blooming on his ribs like purple galaxies. I sketched him constantly. Mid-tackle, post-game glow, the quiet vulnerability only I saw. Game night arrived, air crisp with promise. The arena thrummed, fans in blue and gold, foam fingers waving, the jumbotron flashing kisses from the crowd. I sat with Mom and Richard, nerves jangling as Mason took the field, helmet under arm, scanning for me. Our eyes met. He winked, my talisman. Halftime, we were up by 10. Then disaster. A blindside hit, Mason crumpling like paper. The crowd gasped. I bolted from the stands. Mom's cry lost in the roar. Medics swarmed, carting him off, jersey torn, blood streaking his temple. In the ER at Harborview, fluorescent hell, I paced while Richard bellowed at nurses. Mom held my hand, whispering prayers. Mason woke groggy, thumb drive embedded in his thigh. Out for the season, maybe longer. His eyes found mine first. "Noah, it's okay." I lied, throat tight. "You're okay." But when Richard stormed in, face thunderous, it wasn't. "What the hell were you thinking, son? Diving like that?" Mason's jaw set. "Had to win, Dad." "Win? For what?" "Some scholarship that'll vanish if you're benched." Richard's voice rose, veins bulging. "And you?" He jabbed a finger at me. "Hovering like a damn vulture." "Back off. He's my boy." The words landed like shrapnel. Mom gasped. Mason's hand sought mine under the sheet, squeezing. "Dad, stop." But Richard didn't. Rants about focus, legacy, the Hargrove name. It spilled out. Accusations of distraction, whispers he'd heard about that art kid. Then, eyes narrowing on our joined hands. "Jesus, Mason, tell me it's not what I think." The room froze. Snow howled outside the window, blanketing the city in white. Mason's grip tightened, knuckles white. "It is." Richard's face drained of color. "What?" "I'm gay, Dad, and I love Noah." The confession hung, a guillotine blade. Richard staggered back, chair clattering. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, tears spilling. "Oh, boys. You? Both of you?" Richard's gaze darted between us, betrayal etching deep. "Under my roof? My family? It's not like that," Mason pleaded, but Richard was gone. Storming out into the night, door slamming like judgment. Nurses ushered us quiet. Mom stayed, her hug encompassing. We'll get through this. We always do. But as Mason drifted under pain meds, his hand slack in mine, I wondered. Families like ours, stitched from divorce papers and hope, could they survive a tear like this? The fallout hit like a nor'wester, winds howling off the Pacific, uprooting everything in their path. Richard didn't come home that night or the next. Mom fielded calls from the hospital, her voice steady as rebar, but her eyes were red-rimmed, makeup smudged like war paint. He's at a motel. Needs time. Time. As if love came with a timer set to explode. Mason was released after 2 days, thigh-stitched and crutch-bound. The championship ring a hollow trophy on his nightstand. He holed up in his room, Xbox controller gathering dust, posters of Russell Wilson mocking him from the walls. I brought meals on trays, mac and cheese from the blue box, his favorite, slipping in notes. You're brave. I love you. He'd squeeze my hand, murmur thanks, but the light in his eyes dimmed, Seattle's endless gray seeping in. School was purgatory. Without Mason on the field, the halls buzzed with pity parties. Poor Hargrove, benched for good. Taylor cornered me in the library, voice hushed over dog-eared copies of Catcher in the Rye. Is he okay? And us. I mean, you too. I nodded, throat tight. Yeah, we're together. She smiled, sad and genuine. Knew it. He deserves happiness. Then softer. So do you. Jake kept his distance, a respectful nod in the halls. His new boyfriend's arm looped through his. The GSA advisor, Miss Patel, pulled me aside after lit class. Heard about your family. Doors open if you need to talk. Her rainbow pin glinted, a beacon in the fluorescent drone. But talking couldn't stitch the tear. Richard returned on a Thursday, face gaunt, tie askew from whatever board meeting hell he'd endured. Dinner was a minefield. Salmon again, overcooked, forks scraping plates like accusations. Mom tried bridge building. The therapist said, "No more shrinks, Karen." Richard's voice was whiskey rough. "This is between me and the boy." Mason set his fork down, deliberate. "It's between all of us." Richard's eyes flicked to me, hard as quartz. "You started this. Seducing my son under my nose." The air sucked out. Mom's gasp was sharp. "Richard, it's true." He barreled on, chair shoving back. "I see it now, the looks, the whispers. You're poison, Noah. Always were. Since you waltzed in with your mother." Mason surged up, crutch clattering. "Don't you dare. Noah's family. And I love him. Say it again, and you're out." Richard's laugh was bitter, echoing off the knotty pine cabinets. "Out? This is my house. My rules." He stormed upstairs, door slamming like punctuation. Mom dissolved into tears, hands trembling as she cleared plates. "He doesn't mean it. He's scared." Scared. The word clung like damp fog. Mason limped to me later, collapsing on the couch, head in my lap. "I'm sorry," he whispered, fingers tracing my knee. "Didn't want this for you." I stroked his hair, soft as cornsilk. "We chose it. Together." That night, we made love for the first time, properly, not the fumbling urgency of the garage or hot tub steam. In my room, curtains drawn against the sleet, bodies slow and reverent. He was gentle despite the bruises, mapping me with lips and hands, whispering my name like prayer. I showed him tenderness, the arch of his back under my palms, the hitch in his breath when I took him in hand. It was sacrament sealing us against the storm. After, tangled in sheets scented with us, he confessed, "Always knew, deep down." That summer in Portland with Uncle Ray's neighbor, the one with the motorcycle. We kissed once, behind the shed. Felt right, but Dad, he hammered it out of me. "Men don't do that." I held him tighter. He was wrong. Dawn brought no miracles. Richard's silence was a wall, thicker than the one around our backyard garden. He worked late, ate alone in his study, the clink of ice in scotch glass a nightly dirge. Mom mediated, her love a fraying thread. Family meetings that dissolved into shouts, Tears over coffee at the kitchen island. Valentine's Day arrived, ironic and cruel. Mason surprised me with a mixtape, burned CD, old school, tracks from the National to Hosier, for the feels. We escaped to Discovery Park, crutches sinking in mud, the Olympics hazy across the sound. Under a madrona tree, bark peeling red, he kissed me slow. Marry me someday, he joked, but his eyes were serious. I laughed, heart full. Deal, but only if you wear the dress. Spring teased early, cherry blossoms unfurling pink against gunmetal skies, tulips pushing through soil in the locks. Mason's leg healed enough for short walks. We hiked Green Lake, hands brushing on the path, ignoring joggers' stares. He started PT, dreaming aloud of coaching instead of playing UW rec letters trickling in. I prepped my portfolio, charcoal visions of him earning murmurs from Ms. Patel, RSD material Noah, but home festered, Richard's barbs sharpened. Pass the salt, not the drama. Once, catching us in the kitchen. Mason's hand on my waist, he snarled, "Get a room, out of my sight." Mason snapped, "Maybe we will. Our own place." Richard's face purpled. "With what? Your limp dick dreams." The fight erupted, plates shattering, Mom's screams a soundtrack. Mason packed a bag that night, crashing at Taylor's, platonic he swore, while I stayed mediator in a war zone. Mom collapsed on my bed, sobbing. "He's losing him, because of fear." "Fear of us?" I echoed, holding her as she shook. Richard cornered me the next morning, coffee breath sour. "End it, Noah. For his sake." "His sake?" I laughed, hollow. "Or yours. He's got a future. You're a phase." The betrayal cut deepest. Not from Mason, but the man who'd raised him, twisted love into chains. I left, slamming the door, walking miles to the waterfront. Ferries chugged, gulls wheeled. I sat on the pier, sketching waves crashing, tears salting the page. Mason found me at dusk, Taylor dropping him off. Heard the blowout. He sat, crutch propped, pulling me into his side. "I'm done, Noah. Apartment hunting tomorrow. You in?" "Always." We found a studio in Capitol Hill, third floor walk-up, peeling paint, view of the Ferris wheel at the market. Rent split 3 ways with Jake, who grinned. Roomies and romance? Chaos gold. Move-in was May, graduation looming. Boxes piled. Mason's footballs, my easels, shared dreams. Richard didn't help. Mom did, smuggling checks and hugs. "Give him time," she begged at the door, eyes pleading. Time. Again. Summer solstice party sealed it. Cap Hill streets alive with drum circles, rainbow flags snapping in breeze. We danced on our fire escape, cheap wine in mugs, city lights winking below. Mason's hand in mine, public and proud. "This is us," he toasted. "Forever." But forever's a fragile word. July brought heat wave, asphalt shimmering, Richard's silence cracking with a call. "Come home, son. We talk." Mason went alone. I paced the studio, fan whirring, Jake out with his bow. Hours later, Mason returned. Eyes haunted, duffel slung. "He wants me to choose. Family or you. And fuck that." But his voice wavered, the boy in him surfacing. The one who'd aped Dad's cheers at games, sought approval like air. I pulled him close. "We're your family." He nodded, but doubt lingered, a shadow in his kiss. August scorched, wildfires hazing the horizon. UW orientation. Mason in a polo, me in paint-splattered jeans. Campus buzzed, quads green, dorms alive. We toured together, hand in hand, ignoring frat boy sneers. "Huskies for life," he grinned, but scouts had cooled. Coaching dreams deferred. Then betrayal. A text from Taylor, hesitant. "Saw M at the bar. With Sarah. Looked intense." My stomach dropped. I confronted him that night, studio thick with takeout tie. "What the hell?" He blinked, confused. "Practice?" "No. Sarah." The name a slap. Realization dawned, horror. "Noah, no. It was nothing." Ran into her, talked old times. Swear. But photos circulated. Jake showed me, pity in his eyes. Mason, arm around her at the dive, laughing. Context. Exes reminiscing. Mason's plea. You know her. Harmless. Harmless. Like the garage had been. Doubt roared back. Louder. Choose, you said. Maybe you did. Fight ugly. Accusations flying. My sketches torn in rage, his crutch kicked aside. You're pushing me away, he yelled. You're running. I screamed back. He left, slamming the door, night swallowing him. I curled on the futon, sobs racking, city noise mocking. Dawn brought regret, texts unanswered. Jake found me hollow-eyed. Give space, but fight for it. I did. Tracked him to the old garage. Parents' house empty. Mom visiting sisters in Spokane. He was there, wrench in hand, truck half-gutted. Noah, don't. I crossed the threshold, oil stains familiar. That night changed everything. Don't undo it. He dropped the tool, pulling me close. I'm sorry. Scared. Dad's calls. Pressure. But Sarah? Mistake. You're it. Kiss reconciliation. Desperate. Healing. But scars remained. Trust a mended wing. Flighty. Fall quarter started, routines anchoring. My studio art classes, his kinesiology lectures. We navigated pride stickers on laptops. Shared brunches at Lupanier. Richard thawed fractionally. A birthday card for Mason. And signed. Mom mediated. He's trying. Thanksgiving loomed. A gauntlet. We went home, studio sublet to Jake's cousin. Dinner tense. Turkey dry, yams candied sweet. Richard grunted blessings, eyes avoiding. After pie, he pulled Mason aside. I eavesdropped from the hall, heart pounding. Proud of you, son. Win or lose. Mason's voice thick. Thanks, Dad. Love you. Pause. Love you too. And, Noah, tell him I'm sorry. Relief crashed. Later, by the fire pit, Richard approached, beer in hand. I was wrong. About a lot. Handshake awkward but real. Family's family. Tears pricked. Yeah, it is. Winter break healed more. Tree trimming, lights on the house, Mason's limp gone. New Year's at the Space Needle, countdown kissing amid confetti. To us, he toasted, champagne fizzing. But storms circle. February brought news. Richard's firm downsizing, stress mounting. Mason torn, loyalty pulling. One night, after a call, he confessed. He asked if I'd transfer to Central, closer to home. Help out. My blood chilled. And, thinking, betrayal anew, not outright but creeping. After everything? It's family, Noah. We are family. Argument simmered, unresolved. March rains lashed, mirroring turmoil. Mason pulled away, late nights studying. Texts curt. I buried in finals, canvases dark with doubt. Climax brewed at the studio. Him packing a bag. Just a week. Dad's rough. Stay. Plea. Can't. Door closed soft. Final. Alone I shattered plates, sketches, self. Called Jake, drunk dialed mom. Dawn found me on the fire escape. City awakening. Heartbreaking. He returned days later, eyes haunted. Missed you. Stupid. Forgave. But fracture lingered. Spring quarter bloomed treacherous. Azaleas rioting pink along the Burke-Gilman trail, but our path jagged. Mason's week stretched to 2. Then 3 weekends at home, helping Dad with the yard. I'd bike to campus alone, wind whipping, replaying arguments in my head like scratched vinyl. Family first, he'd say, voice reasonable, but it landed like abandonment. I understood. Richard's vulnerability, the man who'd once tossed footballs in the park now hunched over spreadsheets, gray at the temples. But understanding didn't dull the ache. Art consumed me. A series for critique, shattered bonds, charcoal and acrylics of fractured figures, half Mason, half me, limbs entwined yet pulling apart. Ms. Patel, now advisor, nodded fierce. Raw, personal. Submit to the fry. Mason attended the showing, suit ill-fitting. pride in his eyes amid the wine-sipping crowd. "Stunning," he whispered, hand on my back. We made love that night, urgent and reclaiming, bodies slick under the skylight, rain drumming. "Never leaving," he vowed, tracing tattoos I'd inked in rebellion. A wave on my ribcage, his initials hidden in the curl. But vows erode. May brought Richard's layoff, firm folding like origami in a gale. Mason dropped hours at the coffee shop, barista gig funding extras. Texts dwindled. Busy. Love you. I filled voids with Jake's crew, pub crawls in Fremont, drag shows at Numos, laughter a temporary dam. One humid June eve, post-shift, Mason stumbled in reeking of espresso and regret. "Dad's drinking again. Bad." I pulled him to the couch, our thrift store haven sagging under us. "Let him hit bottom. Like before." He stiffened. "Before you weren't there. It wrecked him. Wrecked us too, your absence." Unsaid, it hovered. Fight ignited slow. My accusation of avoidance, his defense of duty. "You're jealous of my own father? Jealous? I'm lonely, Mason. We're supposed to be building this, us." "We are." But his eyes darted, guilty. "Packing again. Just till he stabilizes." Bag zipped, my heart unzipped. Summer scorched studio and oven. I sublet to a theater major, crashing with Jake in Belltown. Tattoo parlor views, nights blurring into hookups that tasted like ash. Not Jake, boundaries firm, but strangers from apps, quick and forgettable. "Rebound therapy," he quipped, brewing matcha at dawn. Mom called, "Come home, baby." For July 4th. Home. Ambiguous now. The barbecue was powder keg. Richard soberish, grilling brats, Seahawks game on the radio. Mason man-tongs, easy in khakis, but tension crackled like fireworks prep. Taylor showed, invited by Mom, old friends. Her sundress fluttering, laugh bright. She hugged me tight. "Missed you, weirdo." Weird. Accurate. Post-meal. Beers cracked on the deck. Richard cleared throat. Mason's transferring. To Central. Fall start. The world muted. Gulls silent over the sound. Burger sizzle distant. Mason wouldn't meet my eyes. Flipping a patty. Transferring. My voice small. Richard nodded, oblivious or cruel. Better for family. Commute short, I need him close. Job hunts brutal. Mom's face fell. "We discussed this?" Mason shrugged. "It's practical." Practical. The word gutted me. I excused to the garage, sanctuary turned tomb. Tools untouched since winter. Dust motes dancing in slanted light. Door creaked. Mason entered, shadow long. "Noah, don't." I whirled, wrench in hand, symbolic, heavy. "This? Us. Practicality's excuse." His jaw worked. "Dad's falling apart. I can't abandon him." "And me? Abandonment's fine." "You're not." "I am." Voice broke. The garage, the promises lies? He stepped close, hands raised. "I love you. But family. Family's choice, Mason. You chose wrong." Tears tracked his cheeks, first I'd seen. "Don't make me." "You already did." I shoved past, wrench clattering. Echo of that night, inverted. Outside, fireworks bloomed premature. Neighbors display, reds and blues fracturing sky. I drove aimlessly, ending at Green Lake, water black as betrayal. Texted Jake. Over. His reply, "Fuck that. Fight." Thought I did voicemails, please, showing up at Central's open house, him with brochures, eyes haunted. "Go," he begged. "For now." Now stretched eternal. Fall quarter I buried in RISD apps, portfolio shipped east like escape. Mason moved home. Dorms skipped for support. Texts sporadic. "Miss you. Dad better." Photos, him at games, coaching JV, smile forced. Mom mediated. "He's torn, honey. Give grace." Grace. In short supply. November chill bit. Thanksgiving solo with Jake's family. Curry and stories, warmth borrowed. Black Friday I wandered Pike Place, salmon tossing, flower stalls riotous. A sketchpad impulse. Drew Mason from memory, garage ghost. Winter break, I stayed put. Studio reclaimed, easel my companion. New Year's alone, countdown on TV, champagne flat. Resolution, heal. But healing's non-linear. January, a package. Burned CD, his handwriting. Remember us? Tracks we danced to, now dirge. Called him voice steady. Why? Can't forget. Pause. Coming out fully. Told the team. Dad knows, really knows. Pride swelled. Bitter. Good. Deserve it. You too. Hang up. February. Valentine's card. Unsigned. But his scrawl. Garage forever. Laughed through tears. Spring thaw. RISD acceptance. Full ride. Celebration drinks with Jake. Toasts to futures. Seattle's loss. He grinned. Mason texted. Congrats. Proud. Summer job at the market selling prints, tourists cooing. One day him ball cap low buying a sketch of the needle. Beautiful. You too. Awkward. Talk flowed then. Coffee at the original Starbucks, steam rising. Dad's stable. New job. Me? Coaching full-time. Happy. Yeah. But missing you carves hollow. Echoed. Me too. No reconciliation yet. Boundaries set. Friends first. Walks along the locks, salmon leaping, stories shared. Laughter returned. Tentative. June pride. March together. Rainbows on cheeks. His hand brushing mine in crowd. This okay? More than. July heat wave. Garage visit, parents away. Tools oiled, truck purring. Fixed her, he said, pride. We sat on the workbench, beers cracked. Remember. Changed everything. Kiss soft, testing. Deepened. Familiar fire. But stopped. Slow, he murmured. Earn it. Earned we did, dates proper. Dinners at Canlis, hikes in the Olympics, nights tangled but chaste. Trust rebuilt, brick by brick. August. Richard invited us. Dinner. Neutral ground. Territorial. Ribs smoked. Slaw crisp. Talk stilted, then real, apologies traded, beers clinked. Love's love, Richard grunted. Took me too long. Mom teared. Mason's hand under table, steady. Fall. I packed for Providence, boxes labeled heart full tang. Airport goodbye, him in Seahawks hoodie, eyes wet. Visit soon. Promise. Plane lifted. Seattle shrinking. Evergreens to specks. Text. Landed. Miss you already. Reply. Always waiting. Garage boy. Providence welcomed gritty. Brownstones huddled against Narragansett winds. Rizd's hive buzzing with welders' sparks and paint fumes. East Coast sharp-edged. No Seattle drizzle softening blows. I dove in. Life drawing at 6 a.m. Critiques till midnight. Canvases birthing visions of home. Gara shadows. Mason's profile etched in ochre. Roommates. Lena from Brooklyn. Queer poet with a buzz cut. Theo. Quiet sculptor from Philly. Nights dissolved in dive bars, poetry slams. Hookups fleeting. A barista with freckles. A dancer with ink sleeves, but none stuck. Mason's ghost lingered. His texts anchors. Drew today. Miss your lines. Photos, him on the field, JV kids orbiting, grin genuine. Thanksgiving, I flew west, red-eye economy. Neck crick. Home airport. Mason waiting, sign scrawled, artist returns. Dimples deep, hug crushed, airport bustle fading. Missed you, he breathed into my hair. Show me. Drive familiar, I-5 humming. Dinner at the house. Mom's turkey. Richard's stories. New job at a startup. Tech for good. Toasts awkward warm. After, Mason and I slipped to the garage, renovated now, half gym with his weights, half studio I'd claimed in absentia. For when you visit, he said, punching bag swaying. We sparred light. Gloves on, laughter echoing. Then shed them, bodies colliding soft. Floor mats yielded. We explored renewed, scars mapped with lips. Slow, he echoed, but urgency won. Love-making deliberate, eyes locked, whispers of mine reclaimed. Week blurred. Hikes in the Cascades, salmon bake at Golden Gardens, nights in the studio, my hands on his skin like canvas. Richard joined once. Awkward beers, talk of rings, someday, progress. Back east, distance tested. Video calls at odd hours, his coaching postgame rants, my studio rambles. Send nudes. He'd tease. I'd oblige, blurred artful. Jake visited spring break, Belltown crawl, stories swapped. He's solid now, he reported. Grown. Summer internship at the ICA, curating queer exhibits, panels on identity. Mason flew out. Arias detour, water fire on the rivers, his hand in mine public, unheeding stares. Proud, he said, watching my pitch. Love as fracture and forge. Fall senior year, thesis loomed. Installation on blended bonds, garage centerpiece, replica workbench, tools cast in resin, projections of our kiss looped subtle. Opening night. Crowd hushed. Mom and Richard flown in. Tears in her eyes. His nod gruff. Damn good son. Mason's flight delayed. But he burst in late. Suit rumpled. Sweeping me up. Genius. Backstage, against the wall, kiss fierce. Marry me. For real. Heart stuttered. Yes. Proposal proper. Christmas, back home. Tree aglow, family round, ring simple, silver wave with emerald inlay. Like the sound, he said, kneeling. Endless. Yes. Again, laughter amid tears. Richard clapped his back. Welcome, Noah. Mom sobbed joyful. Wedding small. June. Backyard under evergreens. Pride month sun. Jake best man, tailor officiant, ordained online, grin wicked. Vows raw. You changed everything, Mason said, voice thick. Garage to forever. Rings exchanged, kiss sealed, cheers, salmon roast, cake with blue frosting. Dance under strings. Slow sway to ho-hey. His chin on my shoulder. Years folded. Me gallery curator in Boston. Him head coach at Lincoln. Summers in Seattle. Kids came late. Adopted twins, Eli and Jordan. Rambunctious with his eyes, my curiosity. Garage became playroom, tools shelved for Legos. Richard softened full. Grandpa doting, stories of that wild summer. Mom's garden thrived, roses climbing the trellis. One anniversary, back in the garage. Now with a mini fridge stocked cores. We replayed. Wrench drop, kiss spark. Best mistake, he grinned. Best everything. Life's not linear, no tidy bows. Fights flare. My East Coast drifts, his field stresses. But harbor we do, therapy dates, weekend getaways to the San Juans, hands held in storms. Humanity's in the mend. Love not flawless, but forged. From stepbrothers to husbands, betrayal to belonging. Changed forever? Hell yes, for the better. In the end, that's the hook, not the fall but the rise. The garage echo calling us home.